There's nothing like the feeling of opening up a brand new sketchbook, from peeling off the plastic to opening it up to the first page, and seeing what it looks like inside is just a pure moment of joy for me. And since I just finished a sketchbook, it's time to start a new one. So hi everyone, I'm Ward and welcome to my channel Wardrawsalot, and this week we're going to start our new sketchbook. After my sketchbook tour video last week, I put up a poll for you guys to help me pick which sketchbook I should use, and an overwhelming amount of you said that I should use the tan version of the Baylee Jae sketchbook. For reference, I've used this sketchbook before, but I've used it in the white paper and not the cream colored paper, and supposedly the cream colored paper is even better for markers than the white colored paper. So, since I had it with me, I thought it was time to give it a try, and try something new, because I've never really used tan paper at all. So this will be a nice introduction to tanned colored paper for me. As you can see here, I'm doing a bunch of swatches for this paper because I've never used it before in this color, so I wanted to see if it was a huge difference between this paper and the normal white colored paper, and honestly, it didn't seem like it had much of a difference between them. What I liked about it was that it didn't dull out the colors, because I've seen people use tan colored paper before, or cream colored paper, and it would change the color just at least the slightest amount. Here I didn't really feel that with this paper. It kind of felt like how it normally would if I was to use white paper, and my theory on this is because it's cream colored paper, not 100% tanned paper. Tan paper is usually pretty dark, and on top of that, it usually has like a bunch of little lines and like debris on the paper, so it's not smooth and it's not very clear for artwork usually. What I do see a lot of people using super tanned paper for is like color pencils and stuff, because it like shows up better there. But when it comes to markers, I really think the brighter the paper, the better. So this paper is just bright enough and blends beautifully enough to actually work really well with any kind of marker. I just tested Copics here, but usually any type of marker can work fine, and I tested different types of markers in the previous sketchbook, which had the same paper, but it was just in white. So I expected everything to work pretty smoothly when it came to this sketchbook. Of course, in my opinion, the best way to test your sketchbook is to actually draw in it and use your supplies in action. So you get to use them to their fullest degree within your drawing and everything, just to see how they would fare on your new sketchbook or new supply. As always, I have sketched in advance because, you know, it takes me a year to finish up a sketch until I'm happy with it. As you can see here, it's a guy laying on like a blanket in the grass, and he's kind of like reading a book, listening to music on his, you know, like iPhone 27, because I drew it way too big, so we're just gonna call it that. I wanted to try and incorporate a background, at least a little bit of one this time, because I want to, you know, expand my horizons, because I don't do them often enough, because I'm usually afraid to do some kind of background or some kind of grounding element behind a character, because I'm not good at it, right? So you don't want to like ruin a drawing that, you know, you worked really hard on and looks really good to you, and then you put in something in the background and then it just doesn't look right. But because I thought of it, you know, beforehand, and instead of adding something in last second bullshit, right? I thought of it beforehand. I was like, let's do the grass and then the blanket and everything, and it'll be like a nice coherent piece. And of course, that fares way better than you just throwing or slapping anything in the background. Of course, bro sitting here mad beefed up. I usually try to stay within the large range, not the super extra large range, but this time I was feeling the super extra large range. So I drew him out, you know, just a big dude. Made me very happy. I just wanted to do something nice for the first page, and like something that's my comfort zone. Last sketchbook, I did something completely out of my comfort zone and just made the character look different than what I normally do. This time I was like, let's do the exact opposite and just make the most beefiest dude laying in the grass, and he's just got like a really cute face and like really fluffy hair. I was like, I wanted something really like inviting when you open up the sketchbook, and I definitely feel like he has that vibe, because when I open up the sketchbook to see the finished piece, I'm like, wow, this is like really like, it pulls me in, and I'm like, that's what I want with my art. I want it to pull in, so I like that. I managed to do that with him. Now, let's talk about the experience with the sketchbook a little bit, right? I said before that I used her previous sketchbook with the white paper, and I really liked that one, and with no surprise, I really like this one too. I think I forgot to mention it before, but this is cardstock paper right here, and it's 200 GSM. This is a really good range for marker usage. The reason why is that the paper is thick enough to take enough of a beating from the blending that you're going to be doing back and forth. If the paper is too thin, your ink is just going to shit right through the paper. It's just going to tear it up or make it like, what's that word? Not wobbly. Oh my god, what's the word? Warp is the word. Obviously, any paper, if you beat it up enough, it's gonna warp, but it takes a while to get to that point, and this paper really does take a while to get to that point. On top of that, cardstock, because it is smooth enough, and because this paper is like ultra smooth apparently, it blends out the markers really well. And on top of that, it doesn't waste a lot of ink. The more tooth the paper is, the more ink you're gonna have to go through in order to blend out your markers. Because this is a flat surface, the marker just kind of stays there and is waiting to be blended out, and you know, works way better with any marker, not just Copic, but any marker in general for any cardstock. But because this, you know, entire sketchbook is cardstock, this is what I'm referencing it for. The paper is, I think there's 60 pages or 120 sheets. I think I said that right. If not, it's backwards, I guess. I can't remember. This paper, or like the sketchbook, is just thick enough. I personally don't like a sketchbook that's like dumb thick, you know what I'm talking about, where like there's like 7 billion pages in the sketchbook and it's supposed to last you forever. I personally don't like that. I feel like because I go through sketchbooks slowly, it would take me like 3 years to get through one of those like thick ass sketchbooks. So I get one that's just thick enough so I can feel like I've accomplished something in my life, and on top of that, feel like I'm, you know, moving upwards or onwards with things. Like I don't just stay stuck with the same thing forever. If you're somebody who likes those thick ass sketchbooks, like I commend you, because I don't know how you do it. I would have no idea how to do it. I would just start ripping pages out that shit. I would just be like, nah, you know what, let me just take some out and just like start bullshitting with them. So yeah, that's why I try not to get those big sketchbooks, because eventually my brain will just start being like, yo, let's just drop this shit. So this has a just amount, a good enough pages, and is on top of that really great with markers. It can also handle other supplies like some paint pens and color pencils, stuff like that. Obviously, I personally feel that different paper is needed for different supplies, but if you if you got a sketchbook and you just want to throw everything in there, that's perfectly fine too. I just like, you know, being very specific about what I do, but truly either way is fine. It's whatever you're most comfortable with. Of course, like I said before, because it is cardstock, the marker blends beautifully. I've used a good amount of sketchbooks in my time, or at least, actually, yeah, in my time. I've been drawing my whole life almost. I've used a good amount of sketchbooks, and in the recent years, because I only really started getting seriously into marker art maybe like 3 or 4 years ago, I could say that this is definitely one of the better sketchbooks that I've used. This is like way up there, but if you can't really afford, this is like a $35 sketchbook, but granted, it's coming from an artist who is, you know, independent, and they know how to make sure the paper is good for the supply you're using. So yeah, they've been, you know, drawing for a while. Baylee Jae is like one of those like top art YouTubers. They've been here for like a while doing what they've been doing, and she like knows how to make the best paper for the marker artist or for the artist in general. So that's why I chose to support her through this. However, if you can't get her sketchbook, the next best thing I would say is the Ohuhu marker pad. That was like a really, really good marker sketchbook, and I really suggest that one to anybody too. I did that on my channel like way back to a video on that, so if you want to go back and watch that, don't though, because the art's ugly, so don't do that. But yeah, my opinion hasn't changed from it since then. It's still really great marker paper. I think truly that this paper has met my expectations, because the last sketchbook was so good that this one was going to, you know, be just as good, and, you know, I was right with those expectations. Sometimes you gotta choose quality over quantity, and this is definitely really good quality paper. On top of everything, I think my experience with the sketchbook is going to be a nice one. I feel like the first page usually sets the tone for a sketchbook, so if the first page is good, I feel like the rest of the sketchbook is going to be good, and since I really, really love this first page, I think I'm going to have a lot of fun with the sketchbook. I really love how this drawing came out. I think that he just looks so cute. Like, his face is absolutely gorgeous. Like, I can't stop staring at it. Like, as soon as I was done with it, I put it as my phone background, and I'm like, yeah, you're coming with me everywhere. So I was really happy about that. For the most part, I can't wait to do more stuff. I even wrote some goals down for myself this time, like exploring more backgrounds and character design and stuff like that. So hopefully this sketchbook will bring me and you guys a lot of joy for, you know, whoever's watching. And yeah, I think, honestly, I think I'm gonna have a great time with this sketchbook, and I'm excited. So yeah, thanks for watching, and remember, I love you. Bye.